Welcome to another episode of the Flag Stays Down podcast, London Derby winner edition, King of Tottenham Stadium edition. Boys, 3 points today. We're not going to talk about the last week one because you guys didn't pod about it, so we're not going to talk about a loss. But 1-0 win over Spurs, and how are we doing? This full house.
We're good. We're here. I have the game on right now in the background, so if you accidentally catch me tuning out, I'm just trying to focus in a little bit. But no, things are good. Had a very full day at the house today, and had a bunch of kids over. Somewhat unexpectedly. And by somewhat unexpectedly, I mean my wife told me that people were coming over last night. So they showed up at about 11:15 this morning. So it was quite good. But yeah, it was good to see some of Molly's side of the family that we haven't seen in a while. But yeah, other than that, just kind of hanging out, working, and just kind of gearing up for a new adventure, which will be both of my kids are going to be starting daycare on Monday. So I'm gonna go ahead and defer drop off and pick up to my wife for those days. And I think she's gonna do great, and I would not fare as well. So yeah, other than that, all's good.
Have
Parks
they
out.
gotten to separation anxiety at drop off yet?
Miles is done with all that. He's thrilled to go see his friends. Brooksy, we're gonna see how that goes. It should be interesting. Usually he's pretty happy, pretty chill, but we're gonna see how that all plays out.
Rolling stop, easiest way to avoid it.
Honestly, I kind of did that with Miles a few times when he was transitioning, because it was just brutal. You try to be in there with him, you try and say goodbye and ease him into it. Well, there's another half hour trying to calm him down. So it'd be like, okay, they're your friends. Go say hi. As soon as he's facing away from the door, I book it. Just like, all right, I'm out. See what happens. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you got to rip that Band-Aid off, man. I've learned that well, and it's just like, bye, I'm
Yep.
out. And then usually from what they tell us, it's like, 2 minutes of a little bit of freak out, and then everything's fine. It hurts. As a parent, it hurts, but you kind of get over it. It's for the best. But good to hear that transition's coming your way, Matt. That'll be interesting for you guys to flow through. Um, You know what I miss, guys? I miss White Hart Lane only because it's 3-point lane, right? I miss that, and 3-point stadium doesn't have the same kind of ring to it. And I was thinking about that earlier today. I was like, yeah, that's the only thing I miss about White Hart Lane. I never went to White Hart Lane. I don't plan on going to Tottenham's stupid stadium there. So good to know that we still own them. And I love when I hear commentators talk about how uh, against Chelsea, Chelsea have the most points ever on the road against Tottenham. It is Tottenham, and John Terry has made comments about Tottenham forever about the shithousery there. It's I consider them our biggest rival, and it is good that we continue to beat up on them. So 1-0 victory. We earned it, and it was a little bit of a dicey one. Didn't know which way it was going to go the whole match, so good to come out with a win. It kind of felt like a draw, but it was good to come out with a win a little bit. So otherwise, life is great. Halloween was super fun with the kiddo. His first Halloween. He was Sully and I was Mike Wazowski. So life was very fun there. Got to hand out candy. And boys, I lived out a little bit of one of my dreams. We don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters. And so this year I was like, fuck it. We're getting full-size candy bars. And we handed out full-size candy bars. To exactly 68 trick-or-treaters. I kept count because I made those little fuckers grab one each because some of them tried to grab multiple. It's like, nope, not doing it. Not on my watch. And so it was nice to have a house where people were like, oh, cool, and oh, jackpot. And like they were excited to see the full size candy bar. So I've always wanted to do that. There was always one or two houses in the neighborhood that did that growing up, and you were like, yeah, that king size Twix or that regular size Twix tastes way better than those fun size ones. So it was a fun thing to do this year. Collins, how you doing, man?
Yeah, it was good seeing everybody's pictures. Matt, I appreciated your family's pictures, and Parker, yours were a surprise, made me laugh. No, good to see you guys finally catching up in this whole parent thing. Nice to have some company. That was good. We are house sitting for my parents who are out of town. So Hayden got to trick or treat in a brand new neighborhood. Uh, no friends, so he got to go with me and my wife and his mom, of course. So yeah, wandered Brookfield looking for candy. Got a lot of full size candy bars, which if you know the Milwaukee area, Brookfield, that shouldn't be a shock. But he's already done with most of his candy. Like, you little shit, you shouldn't even be eating half of that stuff with your braces. So um, that should be coming to me, dad tax. But boys, let me ask you now that we are past Halloween, what is the appropriate amount, number of pieces of your child's candy for you to take on Halloween evening?
Mine comes with a caveat and a little bit of a story about what we did last weekend. So I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys or not, but we took an impromptu trip intentionally to Children's Hospital last weekend. Um, because my wife apparently had it with not knowing if Miles was allergic to peanut butter or not. So we geared up everybody, went to Children's, sat in the lobby, and more or less force-fed Miles peanut butter. He didn't want it, so Molly puts him on a sucker and made him eat it. And so we were checking everything, blah, blah, blah. And so fast forward to yesterday, we go trick-or-treating and I'm looking at everything. And so we get home, I sort everything out. I'm reading everything, may contain peanuts. I know Reese's have peanut butter. I'm looking at Snickers. I'm like, okay, peanut. So I start splitting out the candy that way. And I'm like, okay, so half of it is like kind of like gummy bears, Tootsie Rolls, stuff you can, no problem. Then I'm looking at some of the other stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna put it in a separate bag. Cool. And Molly's like, what are you doing? I said, well, this stuff has peanuts or peanut butter. So I'm setting it aside because I don't want him just to abruptly eat it and then, roll the dice on that. And so she goes, well, the doctor said that we should feed him more. I'm like, oh boy. I said, I'm gonna take this one. So I hid all the peanut candy away from my wife and my son.
But
So
is he
half,
allergic, or are you just doing that so you get some candy?
little column A, little column B.
There.
So he did have kind of, I don't even know if it was a reaction or if he was just being a kid. But he had a couple spots kind of show up, one near his shoulder, and one kind of by his mouth. But it it was there for like 5 minutes and then it went away. So it wasn't anything concerning. He didn't like it wasn't a full blown anything, but I think the plan is just to kind of incrementally give him a little bit more here and there and then see how that all plays out. But yeah, that's what I get to do on my weekends.
All right. So Matt's at two-thirds of a bag. Parker, what do you have?
As much as you want, and or as long as it's not like a regular size candy bar, you can take as much. They shouldn't eat as much as they get anyway. And yeah, you're doing them a favor, and it is a dad tax. It is part of your inheritance of his that you get. Everything else is one way, right? Everything else is you to him, you to him, you to him. This is him to you, and you deserve that. Pokemon, I feel differently. Candy, I feel very strongly.
All right, I'll go with you guys on this one because when Aiden was young, it was like, yeah, I was eating like half the bag. No, just wait till they get older. Man, I had like eight, and I was got my hand slapped. Get out of there! It's not yours. Shut up.
It's our candy. It's not your candy. It's our candy.
Communist Bugs Bunny. All right. Well, boys, we got 3 points. We don't have to share, which is nice. Joe Pedro, of course, with the quote unquote winner, thanks to Moises Caicedo. Could have been like 9-0 in this one. I didn't look at the XG. I heard that Spurs finished with 0.01, which is fantastic. Um, we'll just start like we start every week. Initial reactions.
Parks, we'll kick it to you because I'm at halftime right now. So
Well,
Initial.
but before you start, Matt, I really appreciate you consistently jumping in at the end of the game into the group chat just to shithouse me, and then get to the actual pod like 12 hours later and be like, I'm watching it right now. I'm like 40 minutes in. I don't know what to tell you. All right, Parker, proceed.
I mean, initial reaction, besides the blown goals towards the end of the match, was a lot of positive. I mean, you said it, Collins. I think it was like zero point 0.1 XG for Tottenham. Um, our defense has been shaky, and I thought our defense played well, but more importantly, like our midfield played really well. And so we didn't give them a lot. I thought Kukurea was very locked down defender. And when I watch guys, like you watch Kukurea and you watch Caicedo, and the way they hound the ball is just relentless. They are just everywhere. They are just a nuisance when they are defending. And like, we need nine more guys like that, right? We need all defenders kind of like feeling that way out, and just it's cool to see. So the goal came because relentless pressure. It was kind of a couple busted opportunities that I thought was going to get completely cleared, and we go on, and nope. Caicedo press wins it back, gets a lucky kind of kick over to João Pedro, and we get a goal. So I kind of alluded to it in the intro, but it felt like stolen points a little bit. It felt like this one had draw written on it. It felt like the Sunderland match, to be completely honest, where we were going to concede it late and kind of throw it away. It didn't happen, and I was happy to see, us on the right side of this kind of trend that we've lately been a part of. So, um, thrilled to go on the road against a team that's ahead of us and take 3 points. I would have preferred us to score two or three, only because it would have put us ahead of them in the table on goal differential. And to see Gittins kind of sky an opportunity, to the moon on a 2 on goalie situation, just bugs you. But you can't be happier than happy when you walk away with 3 points. So I'll take it.
So I'm going to give Matt a few more minutes to catch up here. So I'll take mine next. And mine, I had two, but one of them we'll get to in a little bit, which I'm sure you guys will love. But I'll go with my other one, and that is earlier in the season, even preseason, Club World Cup. I was all on the Maresca train. You guys were like, "Well, he won the Conference League. He finished fourth. Like, need to see more." I don't know if you guys noticed, but we got killed with the long throw-ins last week, and pretty consistently, through this season when we see it, it looks dangerous. Um, but we really got killed against Sunderland with it. I don't know if you guys noticed the quick adjustment, but Tottenham tried the long throw in, and you know what we did? Push three or four attackers to midfield or to the halfway line. So that Tottenham had to get guys out of the box, because if we get possession of that ball, instant 4-on-1 counter if they don't defend that. The tactical adjustment, the on-the-fly tactical adjustment, that's something we didn't see under Pochettino. Yes, and Parker, I'll get you in a minute. We didn't see it under Poch. We didn't see it under Lampard. Matt, I know you sent that great Lampard points earlier this week in our group chat. We didn't see tactical adjustments on the fly from those guys. Tuchel, yeah, until it stopped working. Uh, but we talk about the players growing, and we need to see this from them, and then they need to grow and develop, and then we see this, and kind of that progression. Awesome, we're seeing that out of our manager too. So that was a big step in a big game for us. So yes, Parker, your rebuttal here.
No, just a quick point. One, we conceded midweek on a long throw as well. So not just Sunderland, but Wolves. So he didn't adjust. And then it took him to the last long throw to adjust there. So I'll give credit for the adjustment, but there was a long throw in this Tottenham match where ball fell to a foot that we cleared, but like could have been very, very dangerous as well. If the Tottenham player was ready, that ball's on target as well. So like a little too late for me. I would have liked to see a little bit more forwardness to it because we got burned against Sunderland and then we got burned midweek again, right? Like so I'm not trying again to be happier than happy. Like I saw an adjustment, so great. I just want to point out that it did happen midweek. It wasn't just a Sunderland reaction here.
Carabao Cup doesn't count. Anyways, Matt, what is your first reaction?
I literally just watched the long throw that Parker was talking about that fell straight to Bentancur with nobody around him pretty much, and he just mishandled it. Yeah. Point taken. Um, just based on the first 50 minutes that I have under my belt here, this is kind of what I expected for a Chelsea Tottenham game. I know we're going to talk about this when it comes to my favorite topic, which is officiating. My initial thoughts, he let everybody play. Like there was no ticky-tack stuff. If there was a foul, you earned it. And to me, in a match like this, with the history that's behind it, you kind of have to let it be. So I wasn't overly critical of the officiating based on what I've seen so far. Um, the thing that kind of surprised me was, at least in the first half, how open the game was. I expected it to be a little bit more controlled on the Chelsea side, but it seemed very wide open from the start. So that was something that I was kind of not expecting. Um, but I think we managed the pressure well. Um, and obviously getting that goal early on in the first half was big. And you can't say enough about Caicedo and the work that he does. Um, but yeah, it's good that we got the 3 points. Um, especially in Collins, you sent this right after the match with how tight everything is. Would you say between second and 11, it's separated by 3 points right now? Like that's a crazy stat. Um, so things are tight, things are competitive. It's the nature of the Premier League year to year. You don't know what you're getting. Um, and it's always just kind of a mystery. So you have to be ready to go every single match. But yeah, I mean, so far it seemed like we deserved to win the match. I think we obviously had the better chances. Um, would have liked to have seen us capitalize on a lot more of them, but it is what it is. The thing that scares me is we create chances, but we don't capitalize on them. It sounds very, very familiar. And so we know what happens when we fall in that trap, and it's not great. So we need to definitely make sure that we capitalize on our opportunities a lot better than we have been.
So
Just
what I'm hearing is that we need to sign Marcus Alonso because that's what happened last time we couldn't score when we had lots of chances.
Is he even still playing?
Who the fuck knows?
I was gonna say just wait till you get to the 80th minute of this match because you might die a little bit because the opportunities come fast and furious and it's spoiler alert, not great.
Sweet.
Just go back to the group text.
So,
right before I hop in.
so before we get to the fun officiating, before we get to the wingers, and I know that Jamie Bino Gittins has had a good couple weeks here. Want to talk about that. Um, and of course, before we get to my fun topic, somebody else who's had a good season. I don't see this being talked about a whole ton. I still see Arsenal fans chirping that Declan Rice is the best midfielder in the league, if not the world. And I don't believe that for a second. That's Arsenal fans being Arsenal fans. But where do you rank Moises Caicedo among midfielders, we'll say, in the world right now? We just won the Club World Cup. I think he deserves to be in the conversation, at least of the, top midfielders in the top 32 teams in the world. Um, how many are better than him?
The only person I can think of that would be arguably better at a certain point in time was Prime N'Golo Kante.
Okay, but
That's the
right,
only,
right.
yeah, I'm just saying that's the
Yeah.
only. So to answer your question, I don't think there's anybody close right now. I think the only person who would be better would have been Prime N'Golo Kante.
I don't watch enough of the other world, like outside of the Premier League. I think he's the best midfielder in the Premier League. He he has set this like unbelievably high bar standard. And I loved what you said, Collins, where it's like, how lucky are we that we get to watch him every week? Because I feel the exact same way. And like he to me is like this unobtainium, super high standard, and he still makes me go, ooh, and oh, and huh, how, what? He baffles me, man. He just baffles me, and he does it in a completely different way. But the last player that baffled me like this was Aiden Hazard, where I couldn't comprehend what he was doing because with Aiden Hazard, it was like defender and then a second defender and then oh yeah, a third defender, and he made them all look stupid and he took them all on. With Moy, it's completely different. He doesn't do that the same way, but he still baffles me in that same like, don't know how you did that. I'm lucky you play for us. Like I'm so happy you're with us. And it happens in minute 1 and it happens in minute 89. It just he is our like model of consistency. And early on with us, he had some card trouble and he would get early yellows more often than not, and then kind of play from behind a little bit. He's gotten that under control. I he starts scoring goals. Like I think he scores more goals than Declan Rice now. I know Declan scored today, but like overall, I think he still scores more. And the thought I had today, boys, was if Caicedo played for a nation that competed on the global scale. If it's Spain, if it's Brazil, if it's England, if it's France, if it's the Netherlands, if he played for a relevant team on the world stage, he would be like in the Ballon d'Or top three, going forward. Like it would be a no contest for him to have his name in lights there. I think he deserves it, and he's doing it pretty much just on the club level. And so I consider him the best in the league.
So I agree with everything there. I take it a step further. Uh, Matt, I tend to agree with you. If not being the best midfielder in the world, is one of the best midfielders in the world. Uh, I think of the other big clubs, and I think he's better than Declan Rice. Uh, Barcelona and Real Madrid don't have that, you know, just black hole in the middle that they did at one point. Bayern Munich doesn't have anybody there that scares me. PSG doesn't have anybody in the middle that scares me. Liverpool doesn't have anybody in the middle that scares me. He was supposed to go to Liverpool, which makes it all the better. The only person I could think of, but I think he's fallen off a little bit because he's still coming back from injury, is Rodri. That would be the only player I would consider on the same level as Moises Caicedo in terms of a midfielder. But I think if you're looking at him in terms of where does he rank in the position, he's the Mbappe of midfielders, right? It's Mbappe, and then it's everybody else in terms of where you would rank players in the in the world ranking. Uh, Caicedo is one of one, and yeah, very very fortunate that we get to watch him in blue week in and week out.
It looks like the sort of consensus people are saying Pedri is the world number one. Jude's up there, Rodri's up there, Declan Rice is up there, to name other names, not Moises Caicedo.
Jude, I would take kind of. I'd be interested to see Caicedo in La Liga because I think La Liga, just like the Bundesliga, pads your stats a little bit.
Well,
Um,
I think when you use the term midfielder, it's very broad. Um, like Caicedo is a defensive midfielder. Jude and Pedri, I see them more as
like second
central
strikers.
central slash attacking mids. So they have the goals and the assists to kind of back that a little bit more. They have those stats behind them. Um, so it's hard to say, is there a midfielder? Well, there are obviously different classifications of midfielder. For me, I think he is the best defensive mid in the world right now. I like the shout out with Rodri, knowing what he can do when he was healthy and obviously returning from injury. Even though he plays for City, like he is just a player that you enjoy watching, regardless of what team he's on. Like he is just a very good player that is just fun to watch.
So just gun. We'll do a round. We haven't done this in a while. Gun to your head. If we're what are we saying world class? Maybe top 15 in their position.
Sure.
How many world class players does Chelsea have at the moment? Because for when we were all coming up in our Chelsea dom, we had a world class, maybe two at every position. That's very hard to get in today's game with PSR and all of that. But I think we're all in agreement. Caicedo is one. You got anybody else?
Cole Palmer,
Mark Cucurella?
top 15 left back. Yeah.
I'd say he's top five.
Reece James, top 15 right back in the world.
Well, what position is Reece James?
We'll call it a right back for now. Up for debate.
That one I could go back and forth on. I could see the argument for, but I could also see he doesn't play enough. So three and a half.
Yeah,
Enzo Fernandez is good, but I don't put him top 15.
I wouldn't say top 15.
Definitely no
No.
center backs.
Yeah, I think Palmer for sure. I think Moy for sure, and I think Cucurella for sure. None of our left wingers are there. We did bring up Neto as potentially world class, but I don't know that he makes that list. He's up against a lot for right wingers.
The way that I look at Neto is we are getting our value for him. Like we talked about, what was his price? Like, what was it, like 60 mil, somewhere around there?
40, I think.
40?
But
I thought it was closer to
I thought
60.
it was in the 50s, but I can't, we're all
Yeah.
over the place here.
Either way, we were kind of like, oh, okay, that's a decent amount of money for him. I think we're getting the value. You know, you know, we're getting the value out of him that I didn't think that we would get when we signed him. I think he is definitely, we got him for a steal. With everything that he's able to do, play both sides, left and right. He's dangerous on both sides. Um, he's doing everything, right? We all know I like the try hard guys, right? Name a different winger who busts his ass as much on the offensive, on the attacking and defensive side of the ball more than Pedro Neto. I forgot what match it was, but it was maybe like a month ago where he tracked back like 80 yards all the way back to the end line just to shield somebody off in like a dead sprint. You don't see wingers do that. His value, I think, is overlooked because we do have a lot of very good, talented players. And when Palmer is healthy, a lot of our attack runs through Cole Palmer. Like we all know that. Everybody in the world knows that. But with Palmer being out, he's kind of come into his own and shown that he can be the focal point if need be, right? He can play different roles. He's even played a number 9 on a couple of occasions. He can be that guy if he needs to be. And I think that's something that we didn't expect when we went out and got him.
51 million pounds, by the way. So well done to you too. Is
Um,
51 million pounds, 60 million euros.
yeah, I just looked up top right backs in the world, and Sports Illustrated has Reese at 13, and Rant Sports has him at 9. But both of those sites had TAA at 1 and 3. So exactly, right? So that tells me that, TAA gets a little bit of the Real Madrid treatment. He's looking better at Real Madrid. And when both of those boys played in the Premier League side by side, we all looked at Reece James and said, as good, if not better, right? Not worse by far. So I take all of that with a grain of salt and say Reece James, when healthy, is world class.
So talking about Reece James, we're gonna just real quick pivot to him here. Obviously played multiple positions today. He's done that a couple times this year. Also, just an interesting tidbit, Malo Gusto was the wingback subbed off in this one. Pretty much over Maresca's tenure, it's been Reece James has been the one subbed off, talking about preserving minutes and all that. He got the nod today, and I think that showed a lot of trust that his hammies are holding up. And we'll get to the injury side of it later. But what do you guys think of Reece James's evolution into kind of a Swiss Army knife here?
I mean, I like it. I like the role that he played today. And I don't know if I like it forever. I don't know if it's the way we should go forever. Especially because I think Malo Gusto's future is a little bit in question at our club. So, that aside, I think I think Reese is like one of the most competent footballers out there anywhere on the pitch. You throw him at striker, you throw him at goalie, he's going to do something decent. I just think of him as, like you said, a Swiss Army knife and someone who can really just fill in gaps where we needed. And I really liked how he bossed the midfield alongside Caicedo. And it led to Enzo Fernandez having almost zero defensive responsibilities, where he really pushed forward. And I thought he was better in that attacking midfielder, more creative. He had balls on his head, he had balls at his feet that he played into people. And it doesn't show up on the stat sheet today, but I thought Enzo Fernandez had a really good game because he was able to push forward, because he has Moises Caicedo and Reece James there to really solidify that midfield. And with other lineup configurations, we don't get that. So, um, yeah, I mean, Reece is such an interesting case study, and we'll look back on Reece, the full collective Reece of injuries and position changes and all the things that kind of go into it, and kind of dissect it all when he's done. But right now, I'm just enjoying that he's out there. I like how he behaves as a captain, and I like the security that he brings to the team, because he is a lot of calm. He is a lot of when he has pressure on him, it doesn't really feel like it. So he does a lot to kind of help waver that pressure when he gets it.
But Matt, before you give your point, I just want to interject because you mentioned you like the you mentioned the way that he conducts himself as a captain. And I think back to Conor Gallagher as captain a lot. Like that, I have PTSD from all of that. Earlier, was it this week or last week? I can't remember. We drew a penalty. Enzo Fernandez should have been the one to take it. What does he do? He goes and grabs the ball, gives it to Esteval so that he can take it. I think we were up 4-0 at that point. And Esteval praised him after the match for doing that. Maresca praised him after the match for doing that, talking about, team. And I don't know if you guys noticed today at halftime going into the tunnel. I saw this on X. I wasn't watching it at the match because I was at the bar, but um, normally the players walk off the pitch kind of individually from wherever they are on the pitch. Reece James huddled them all up and got them to walk off the pitch together. We have matured not only as a team and a club, but we now have captains who do captain things. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I have no idea what Conor Gallagher's up to. Props to him for whatever he's doing, but we've got some good captain, vice captain, all that going on right now.
So I don't think you're intending to bash Connor by any means. The only thing that I want to say as defense attorney for Conor Gallagher is at the time we didn't have a captain available. Both of our captain and vice captain were out, right? That was Reese and Chills. Enzo was still, I think it was his first year with the team.
Still
So
learning English.
yeah, he was just brought in. There was nobody else available who at least understood the Chelsea dynamic, right? You talk about an academy guy who's come through the system, all that stuff. So like he gets it and he shows it on the pitch with how he plays. The leadership part of it, right? Which is what we're seeing out of Reese, what we're now seeing out of Enzo, things like that. Connor didn't know how to do that. I don't think he is the type of player that's built for that, right? Some people are natural born leaders, some just have to be by default. And I think that's where Connor kind of fit in. I don't think it was the wrong call. I don't think there was another call to make in that situation. And obviously, Colin's the point that you brought up, we all know about, the infamous penalty where four guys were trying to get the ball. He didn't know how to handle that. He's not somebody who I would consider a natural born leader. I think he was just handed the armband and said, "All right, you're our captain. Go be a captain." And he didn't know how to handle that. But I do agree with what we're seeing now that we have Reese back. We have Enzo, who is now in that more leadership and a little bit more senior role. Even Caicedo sometimes takes the armband. You have people who understand what we're doing and what we're trying to do. And these three that I just mentioned, to me, those seem like natural born leaders who fit this whole identity that we're trying to build with this new Chelsea, right? These are the guys that you need. And I agree, seeing the structure that we have in place now compared to, 2 years ago, it's night and day.
I'll set this up as a little bit of a transition for you because when Reece James talks, like players listen. And we laugh because he is only 24, I think, years old, I believe. And he's been with the team for so long that he does command himself. The team follows his lead, right? When if he huddles the guys up before and we all walk off together, we're all walking off together. Um, Kind of reminds me of a former captain that we all watched do something similar, which is John Terry. John Terry, when John Terry spoke, you listen, right? Like he had that authority over people and he called people out, right? When people are in the wrong, he called people out. And John Terry wasn't always in the right either, but you know what? He was a leader. And I think that leadership, I think it's a little bit forged in fire, especially with our young team. I think guys like Reese and Moy and Enzo kind of went through it all together, Matt, like you said. So everyone kind of has this understanding, but I think when Reese gets there, and you watch this with like complaining about calls and things, but when Reese gets there, like they default to Reese. They default to their captain. They listen to him. And even when Kukurea is like mad about something and Reese steps in between him and the ref and he says, whisper something in his ear, and Cucurella is kind of laughing to himself, like that's bullshit, that's bullshit, whatever. Captain took care of it, right? Captain's got my back, and we go forward.
Yeah, and I love how I don't know, not necessarily in the circle. Obviously, every year we talk about John Terry should come back as assistant manager or manage the youth or do whatever. Um, but I love how into it he still is. I love seeing like Solomon Kalou videos of him watching the match. I love earlier this year Ramirez, stuff like that. But John Terry, of course, holds a special place. Couple real quick jabs by him this week at Tottenham. I'm going to leave it up to you guys here as to which one is your favorite. Uh, Earlier this week, he was on TalkSport, being asked about how significant this game is, and he says, "Well, Tottenham has invited me to the stadium before the match. Kickoff's at six. I think it's 6:30 their time. They've invited me in at six. Told me to get there at 6:29. They'd give me a tour of their trophy room and then on the pitch by kickoff. Uh, Basically implying that they have the trophies, which nice. And then today, going off the old, it's happened. It's happened. Brain fart here. It's happened. It's happened again. Basically, Tottenham get bashed everywhere they go. John Terry holding a bottle of tequila, saying "bust out the tequila." It's happened again. Uh, is there a better shithouser than John Terry? Can you think of one in this current squad?
Can I throw one additional one into the mix that I saw? So I think his trophy, the trophy case comment came off the heels of Jamie O'Hara, um, former Tottenham player, mentioning that Spurs are a bigger club globally than Chelsea. And if I read the article correctly, I believe John Terry said that Spurs and globally should never be used in the same sentence ever. To me, I like that one the best. It was it's direct, it's right to the point. There's no subtlety about it. Classic John Terry.
Oh my God! All right, I'm catching up on that now. Not to break news that happened like 3 days ago, but Jamie O'Hara says on his show, he's got a show on Talksport, that Tottenham is bigger than Chelsea on a global scale. John Terry called into the show.
Yep.
You can't make that up.
Amazing.
I mean, I personally like the trophy comment. I think it's a super unnecessary but very necessary jab at them. And when John Terry, I don't know if you guys see this, but like if you watch like the Aiden Hazard video, he makes a comment, and John Terry's background is trophies. And he says to Aiden when he welcomes him into the Premier League Hall of Fame, he says, "Mate, I have more of these trophies because I played with players like you," right? Like players like you help me win trophies, and he doesn't take all the credit himself, which wonderful thing to do there. But John Terry has the trophies to back up his talk. John Terry has won the double, as the song goes, right? Like John Terry has done the things. Tottenham has not done the things. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. They have not won the big trophies. They have not won the big chances, and our team has.
Yeah, and I think about we've had a lot of good shithousers at this club. Antonio Rudiger, Diego Costa, John Terry, of course, even shithouses his own teammates by sleeping with their wives. But I love the video today of Pedro Neto with Spurs fans behind him yelling at him. He turns around, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, sticks his tongue out, just wags it like, oh, I'm all about that. I'm sure he'll get some kind of fine, but no, instant points. You know what? He's world class. Put him in there. We got four. All right. Back to the game itself. Now, Garnacho started. Jamie Gittins, who's had a good couple weeks, comes off the bench. First of all, why? Second of all, is Gittins starting to adjust to life back in England? Is he, I'm going to say it, Matt, is he back?
Fuck off.
Are we back?
First and foremost, just fuck right off.
Is the
Uh,
pod back?
you're about to catch a backhand. So I've Garnacho to me, I don't know why he's starting, first and foremost. I I haven't seen us I haven't seen the reason why we signed him, except for another body on the left. That's kind of all I envision him as. Yeah, I know he scored, what was it, last week or I think
Sunderland.
last week. He scored. Great. I'm more interested in Gittins and his development than Garnacho. Garnacho to me is in the same mold of a Jadon Sancho, who Jadon Sancho I didn't mind because I've seen a body of work of how he can play. Garnacho to me seemed a little bit more like a flash in the pan and then kind of fell out of favor at United. Um, yeah, we got him on the cheap. He wanted to be at Chelsea. Great. But he so far still has yet to prove that he's bought in to what we're doing here at Chelsea. Gittins, it's a new league for him, so obviously we know that that takes time to get acclimated. That's fine. Garnacho's been playing in this league for what, 3 years now, 4 years. He should be ready to go. He should understand the style of play and everything like that. It just seems like he is still like far away from where Gittins is right now. And Gittins is learning a brand new league. I think there's a lot more upside in Gittins than there is with Garnacho, at least at this point. If I'm proven wrong, so be it. But I like what I see out of Gittins from a development and improvement standpoint than what I'm seeing out of Garnacho. Because to me, it seems like we're still getting the same Garnacho that was at United.
What says you, Collins?
I think we're going to see these two go in waves all season. These two are going to be splitting minutes on that left wing. I don't think one is going to beat out the other. Gittins will have a hot streak. He'll cool off. Garnacho will come on. He'll have a hot streak. Because it was just, I think, 4 weeks ago, 4 pods ago. That might have been 2 months ago. I don't know. We were talking about, oh my God, why the fuck did we sign Gittins? He is trash. He is awful. And they're like, yeah, Garnacho's like, he's okay. I'm like, okay. And now we're having the exact opposite conversation. It's going to continue to go like that all season until a starter is defined, which I know Maresca is not going to want to do because he wants competition. We're just going to have to deal with those two alternating between sucking and being fine. They are both very much momentum players, where kind of like Noni Madueke was, kind of like Jadon Sancho was a little bit. Man, that was a good shout. Where you get them going, and oh man, they're going to set the world on fire for a couple weeks. But then you're going to have about 8 weeks of them being blah. Um, I think we got to deal with it. I'm not ready to break either one off. I haven't been impressed if you look at the season as a whole with either of them. Um, my preference is still Neto on the left, Esteval on the right, but I think we're trying to still ease Esteval into things in England. So I get that.
Boy, I agree with almost everything you said, Collins. I I don't know if I could have said it better myself. They're both 21 years old, is I think the point for Garnacho and Gittins. They're both very young. Um, I have no idea whose ceiling is higher. I have no idea who's better today. Gittins has disappointed me more than Garnacho. in what I've seen on the pitch, meaning like he hasn't taken as many opportunities. I think he's had more clear-cut opportunities, whereas Garnacho has created more um, opportunities for himself and for his teammates. So I think like his ability to put a ball in is better than Gittins. But like neither has set the world on fire. Neither has won a position by far. Like they're both kind of like who sucks less this week is more the thing. But the thing I like about this year is with Champions League football, we have big ticket matches midweek, and we advance in the EFL Cup. So we're into like what the semis or I think they're the quarters,
Quarters.
quarters against Cardiff, something like that. So we're advancing in competitions, which means squad rotation is necessary. Um, it's I wish it was we have two like lockdown could put them anywhere kind of guys on the left wing. Right now we have two kind of meh guys on the wing. Um, but I mean I said it from the get, like Jadon Sancho to me was the known commodity, and so I didn't know why we got a Jadon Sancho clone when we had Jadon Sancho, and I at least knew what we had in him. Um, so that said, both have upside, both have their faults. Um, but like I said, Gittins, like again, I'll say it, like the opportunity that he missed in today's match just bothers me. The fact that it was 2-0, two on goalie, and he skies it, like just completely skies it, just tells me that he doesn't have that in him. And there was two chances in the match. One was that, and then the other was when Garnacho blocked it and Joao Pedro got on the end of it and first touch kind of kicked it at the goalie and it was saved. But guys like Estevao make me like so optimistic for the future because I don't know if you guys saw Estevao's goal against Wolves, but his calm where he can just kind of put that chip in, that Ramirez chip, that Brazilian kind of flare chip. Oh, that makes me so excited because we get into those positions where it is me against goalie, and I feel like Estevao is going to be a guy that can convert 90% of those when he gets those chances. And we've gotten a good amount of those chances this year, but sort of the wrong guys who maybe just go for power. The funny thing about the Joao Pedro miss was I feel like he missed it anyway. Like I feel like he was going left of the goal before the keeper saved it. So at least he got a corner out of it, but like I feel like he missed that shot even so. All roads lead back to Esteval for me on the wing because I feel like he's the most exciting prospect we have on the wing, and it would be really interesting to see like later in the season, Collins, if Neto does move to the left. We know he's competent on the left, and Esteval works his way into the middle, and then a guy that we have played very little with, like Cole Palmer, plays the 10, and we'll see how things go there.
So just a real quick tally on guys that my co-hosts miss. Uh, Jadon Sancho, I didn't even know where he was. I had to look it up. He's at Villa. Uh, in all competitions, he's played a total of 242 minutes with no goal contributions. Uh, Conor Gallagher is averaging 29 minutes a game at Atletico and has as many yellow cards as goals with one. Um,
Nico
so
Jackson numbers.
he scored today. That's all I know. And the
Yeah,
Bundesliga, I think, has a handicap associated with it, if I remember correctly.
bring up Nico Jackson's numbers right now.
I'm
He
doing
was, I
it
think,
right now.
0010 or something. Like he was terrible.
Yeah, he scored today. I know that.
I think you're thinking of Florian Wirtz from
Uh,
Liverpool.
one goal in 7 Bundesliga matches. That came today. Well done, us. I think we just need to trust when we get rid of players.
Fail upwards.
Yep. All right. Well, boys, uh, I think we can officiating. Everybody knows it was consistently Premier League today. I don't think we need to touch on that one a whole ton. Maybe there should have been some red cards, but I think Enzo deserved one as well.
Do you
Uh,
is that it? I thought the
I,
I thought the
I
challenge against Reese was worse.
I think had the one against Reese gone red, the one that Enzo committed would have been justified being red.
He
So
just didn't make as much he didn't make as much contact, which I know the rule and I know that his studs were up. He just didn't like I feel like when you stomp on someone's foot, it's way worse.
It, it
Maybe that's
was
just
it was
me.
a grazing blow. He maybe caught half a stud going just across. He
Yeah.
grazed him.
and he
Where
had a lion on his kit. That's why.
Well, yeah, and where Reese almost lost an ankle.
Again.
All right. Well, that does push us to the hour. I'll leave
Nope.
my topic for later. Oh, Parker, you got one?
No, I was gonna say no Bobby Sanchez.
I way to
Do
way to
it.
spoil that. I was going to take the closing thought today for the first time ever.
My
You can
closing
take
thought
the
is Bobby
closing thought
Sanchez.
too. You can take the closing thought along with the yell that you're about to receive. Yeah.
Instead, we're not going to finish the pod right now, and we're gonna go to our bets here because I completely forgot about that, and we didn't do one last week because we didn't pod. Uh, so after a lot of debate, this is written in stone here. I had marked you over under a half a goal. I know Matt complained about that in the group chat. He scored against Ajax, so I win. I'm the only one who took over. I'm on a hot streak of two. Uh, Parker, you're at four in a row of losses, and Matt, that is just your second loss of the year. Or sorry, no, other way around. Matt, that's your fourth loss of the year. Parker, your second. All right, so that means it is on Parker this week. Parker, what do you got for bet? We have Carabag and Wolves.
Uh so we scored 4 against Wolves midweek. We conceded 3, but I'm gonna put the over under goals scored by Chelsea FC at 5 for the 2 games combined.
All right, let me it's entered here. Over under Chelsea goals in the week. 5 even, or do you want to put a half on there?
I'll go 5 even.
Matt, you got to take same, right?
If I've learned anything in my years, you gotta call same.
Is that what you're taking, though?
Yes.
Drink. All right.
Yeah.
Collins?
I'm taking, I don't know. I don't bet. What do you call it? I'll take the
A
push.
push.
I'll take the push.
I'll tell you what, if Matt hits on that, I will I don't know, I'll shotgun a four loco.
So I'll here's what I'll do, Matt. Matt gets 3 points for the good if he hits on the push, whereas Collins, you and I are fighting for the 1.
3 points for Matt and a four loco
You
if he
can you
wins.
similar to if the Black Eyed Peas say dirty bit at the halftime show, Collins, you can drink for whatever rules you want. Like you can make them up as you go. It doesn't matter.
I don't think he made it to the end of that song, if I recall correctly.
No, he
I don't
did.
remember
Maybe
the second half
second
of that
half.
game.
Yeah, it was the second half. Yeah, I forgot which one.
He saw halftime. I was with him.
All right, so just on a side note here, for those of you who don't know, we had a great college experience all together. Uh, up until this Club World Cup, I have never seen a team that I support win a final sober.
Hmm.
Nor do I recall half of them. So that's the reason for all this. Just pull back the curtain a little bit. All
I'm
right,
taking the under, by the way.
Parker taking the under. Ooh, I think we might drop 5 on Carabag. So I'll take the over. All right, so 3 different guesses. Make sure to listen next week. See if any of us hit on that. I'm sure one of us will, right? Boys, we're at that time. So make sure to subscribe, rate, review. Check us on X. I posted today at Flag Down Pod. Other than that, closing thoughts because I don't have one.
Just for everybody, I'm at the point in the match right now where I am seeing all the missed opportunities. I just saw the Gittins one, and now I just saw the João Pedro one. Oh, I still blame the manager for the misses and not capitalizing.
Next week, can we just do a whole pod as Matt watches Matt just gives
Live
commentary on the
reaction.
game? Yeah.
Why don't we schedule the pod for the game and we can just all live react?
I'm in on that. Matt?
Matt doesn't know when he's going to watch the game.
Yeah, I'm roll the dice. Chances are not great that I watch the match live.
All right, we'll tune in next week to see what the hell we did. Boys,
Later, boys.
been a pleasure. Cheers.
Later.